Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Progressive Overload Podcast. Have you ever thought about strengthening multiple areas of your life at the same time? Then you've come to the right place. Our goal is to help you identify ways that you might need a progressive overload to break through those plateaus and keep you growing. Welcome to the Progressive Overload Podcast, everyone. This is one of your hosts, Joe Copeland, and as you can see, I'm joined by the Kyokan Kid, Tyson Burwell. If you remember, you heard him speak a couple episodes ago. And then we're also super excited to have our old man, Adam Lazarine, across the table from us.
Old.
I know.
I didn't say it.
Old man. I'm good with that, though. I am the elder statesman.
I know. You're not that old, though.
Well, old man strong is a thing.
That's true.
Dude, it is, man. You got that old man strength.
There's something about that, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, no. I remember I've been working out with my dad lately, and so I can outwork him as far as weight load goes.
Yeah.
But if we're like swinging a sledgehammer all day long, I quit in
for
15
sure.
minutes, and he can go all day long. There's
Absolutely.
something about it, man.
Yeah.
It's those like old men plumbers who have been like cranking wrenches their whole entire life, and they just have the massive forearms.
Yeah.
Don't look at their gut; it's probably in their crack. But man, they got that strong hand grip.
Right. For
Plumbers.
Dad, he's a mechanic.
Mechanics,
so
yeah.
like pulling wrenches, he's just got these back muscles.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
for sure.
Love that.
How was y'all's weekend?
Weekend was good. Weekend was pretty low key for us. We had some friends come and join us.
That's right.
Went fishing over the weekend.
Nice. Any luck?
Yeah, we caught a few, just little ones, but had a big time. I always like to say happiness is found in the who, not the what. And
That's
so
true. Absolutely.
It was all about who was on the boat and
Of
just
course, man.
hanging out and having a good time.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. My weekend was busy. I had the fights that I was commentating on
That's
over
right.
at the DFA and over in Wichita Falls. So if my voice is a little tired, that's why. I've been doing a lot of talking lately.
So we're adding professional commentator to your to that resume, huh?
That's it, man. This is my second one to do it, and it's something else, man, because you realize I know what I'm talking about with fighting. I've been doing it long enough, but there's something, that added thing where you realize you're talking to a crowd of people, kind of like podcasting. It's
right,
like, I talk all the time, but suddenly I've got all this extra on top of it, and it complicates talking for some reason.
It does, yeah. I mean, you got to think about. I mean, it's a lot more than just relational conversation.
Right. It's not just around the water cooler anymore.
Yeah, right. Water cooler talk. That's right.
So, well, cool. All right. So, as we have broadened our horizons at the Progressive Overload Podcast and brought on a new teammate, that adds relationship value to our podcast.
Heck yeah, it does.
Certainly.
And so we're going to talk about that today. I'm excited for that. There's 3 types of relationships, right?
Well, I guess.
That we have on the docket. Can I say that?
Sure.
That's what it is.
Is that the right word? Yeah.
It's our notes anyway.
Yeah.
And so why don't we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it. So I want to talk about at Swan Family Wellness Center, at the gym that we work at and work out at, we have 7 big window stickers as you walk in. They're really colorful. If you've been there, you've seen them. And they are the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. And what lifestyle medicine is basically just it's a way of thinking of using the way we live our life to combat disease, disorder, sickness, and stuff like that. And one of those big old stickers and of the pillars of lifestyle medicine is relationships. And pretty much on this podcast so far, we've covered pretty much all of those pillars so far, but we haven't covered relationships yet. And so it's obviously a massive, massive deal when it comes to our health and fitness, is our people that we're around.
Sure.
And so I love the title of this episode is called "Your Net Circle is Your Net Worth." So when I say that, how does that what does that make y'all think about?
So net worth, even, right?
Yeah.
I've always heard and repeated the saying that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around most, and that is your income, that's your personality, that's your work ethic.
Yeah.
You're the average as a whole.
Yeah, it's all encompassing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I've always been told to be really picky with who those 5 people are.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they can make or break you, and that goes true in the gym. Either, you're working out with somebody who you're trying to pull up, and try to bring them to your level.
Yeah.
or you're working out with somebody who's way better than
Exactly,
you, and
right.
man, you're trying to catch them. And, it makes you grow as a person.
Absolutely.
Yep, I like how you phrase that. I think about Scripture. I'm going to throw that in there real quick. Jesus spent most of his time with 12 people. A majority of his time he spent with 3 of those 12.
Right.
And so he even got this, he figured
You know what?
it
I
out.
never thought about that. That is true.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he figured it out kind of like we do,
Sure.
that it matters who your inner circle of people is.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have levels to it. You have friends, you have close friends, you have friends, and you have acquaintances.
Yeah.
And it kind of just, you can phrase that however you want, or
Yeah.
you can change the title of those things.
Of
But
course.
it never really changes the amount of people that are in any of those
Right.
3 categories.
Right.
Sure.
So anyway,
Yeah. So I think the number one most important relationship in our lives, obviously, besides our relationship with Christ, is our spouse. So let's talk about the importance of having a spouse who is either a part of your health journey, a part of your health, fitness, nutrition journey, or at least is very supportive of it. I think that is so crucial, and almost anytime I won't say anytime. A large majority of times that a client or somebody comes into the wellness center, whenever they quit, it's usually because their spouse has nothing to do with the equation.
Yeah.
They're not supportive of it. They're ordering out pizza whenever, I'm trying to cook a healthy meal, or they're just, they bring you down in all sorts of ways. And so on the other side of that, when I see couples coming in and working out together, they last so much longer than the vice versa. Do y'all see that?
Oh, 100%. I can't tell you the amount of fighters, training partners, lifting partners that I've lost.
Right.
Just as soon as they get a girlfriend that doesn't fit, fit the mold.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the individual that's been trying to work on themselves and now they've achieved a relationship and everything else. It's kind of like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
And man, it's super common. And then on the other hand, you get a guy who's already in a stable relationship where she's fully on board or involved even.
Yeah.
In which case, like you said, that it's match made in heaven.
Right.
They keep going.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
yeah, I think all of us have wives that are supportive of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that helps.
For sure.
It's just one of those, like you said, it's a pillar of your journey on your fitness and your faith. I mean, you got to kind of have a like-mindedness,
Right.
because it's difficult if you don't.
For
And
sure. Yeah.
There's always going to be tension or something there. Hey, I want to go work out. Well, why would you want to go do that?
Right.
Kind of a deal. And so we don't have that issue, but some people that might be listening do.
They absolutely
It doesn't
do, yeah.
mean that you have to give up on your relationship.
No.
Yeah.
No. This is not grounds for divorce.
Right. Let's just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Just because they don't see exactly the way you do with the gym or any of those other things, that doesn't mean you have to stop.
Yeah.
Right. For sure.
But it does mean you might want to open a line of communication
Absolutely.
so that
Yeah.
y'all have an understanding. You can
Yeah.
reach some common ground.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so-
Well, common goals bring us together, and emotionally and physically. So let's talk about both of those. Let's start with physically. I mean, we'll stay PG here, but I think it is proven and proven again that physical fitness and working out, exercising, and eating a healthy, nutritious diet is absolutely going to improve your libido. But doing it with your spouse, exercising with your spouse, having that time together to where you're both kind of, it's quality time that you're spending together if you're working out with your spouse. It's obviously going to improve your physical love life. Yeah.
Yeah, to comment on that, saying PG, but the most beautiful, sexy thing that I've seen my wife do is deadlift. Like,
right?
Yeah, close to 300 pounds. Like,
dang, yeah,
I was just like,
yeah.
this, I'm with the right person. Is what it told me.
Yes.
There you go.
Man, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I haven't really thought about that, but I guess you're right. That would be one of those things. You're like, man, that fits the bill.
Yeah.
Well, and then like you were talking about goal setting, right? If you're in it together and setting goals together, whenever you help your spouse, your girlfriend, whoever, reach their goal, that's almost more fun,
right?
Than whenever I reach my own.
Yeah.
It's watching her go through the struggle and everything,
Right.
and being
Yeah.
there to see her reach her goal. It's just
Right.
super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So one of the things that we deal with as a couple is, what are you going to be eating for lunch? What are you going to eat for dinner? And it's not like crazy strict, like, oh, you're going to mess this up.
Right.
But it is kind of fun in a way just to keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
If maybe you're the one in the house that does the cooking, or, maybe y'all do it together. That's another cool thing.
Yeah.
You can cook together if you have the same fitness goals.
Right,
you can
for sure.
plan ahead. Now, one of the things that we do not do is compete.
Y'all don't
Yeah.
compete.
We do not.
Yeah.
We just don't, because one of us seems to lose weight a little bit easier than the other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we threw that out the window.
Yeah. Right.
You find your boundaries, and
Right.
you find your strategies too to help each other.
Yeah.
Competition doesn't really work in my relationship either.
Yeah.
It's more of just pushing each other. Less of I'm beating you, and more of we're both achieving.
Right.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. I mean, specifically my relationship, my wife, we've tried working out together before, and it doesn't work. Especially me as the professional, who I'm like, I don't dare correct her for him. She'll just say, "Shut up."
It's one of those boundaries. I
Yeah.
got this. You
And
leave
she's
me
like,
alone.
"Why are you talking to me?" No, I told Lorna, I was like, tomorrow I'm recording with Adam and Tyson. We're going to talk about relationships health, and she was like, sarcastically, she said, "Oh, great, you're just going to talk bad about me." the whole time." I was like, well, I might tell them about how 2 or 3 nights a week you send me to the gas station to get you a little Debbie snack before bed, but I don't get one. But luckily she's just naturally fit. I mean, she doesn't have to focus too much on that.
So jealous of those people.
I know, I want to punch those people, but not my wife.
But not her.
probably shouldn't
I was
say
going to
that.
throw that
Easy
in
now.
there.
I say that too often. I should probably be a little bit more decisive or picky when I say those kinds of things.
Right.
So maybe there's people that are listening that do not have a spouse, and they
Yeah.
are wondering, what's in this for me?
Yeah.
So what do you start to look for? I mean, we don't have to do this, and we're not going to do this, but we're not looking for that at the moment.
No.
And so for people that are listening that may not have a spouse, what would you say to them?
Yeah. So I think it's important that you have common interest in health. That doesn't mean I'm not marrying you if you're not a weightlifter, or I'm not marrying you if you do yoga, or I'm not interested in if you do this. But I think, I don't know, I'm kind of torn on it because on one hand, I think, I don't want to be with somebody who's not going to be supportive of my health and fitness goals. But on second hand, I'm not even sure if that's biblical.
Well, here's a hot take for me, I guess. Personally, I'm attracted to somebody who takes care of themselves.
Okay.
So that's an individual that I'm after, right? Kelly fits the bill perfectly, so I'm happy with my wife. I love who she is and what she does. But if I'm a person that's looking for a relationship, it's got to align with my goals.
Yeah.
And that goes for just life in general, though, too. Financially, where are you trying to better yourself, or are you good with just sitting on the couch and doing it? Are you looking for somebody to take care of you? Because I'm not that guy. So yeah, I like a strong, independent woman, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, that can get you into trouble sometimes.
It can. It can.
Yeah.
But it's also great, and I'm glad that you have Kelly, and I'm glad that you love her for who she is and what she does.
Right.
And so it, what do you think about? You said you made mention to how many workout partners or training partners for your fighting that you've lost because of relationships.
Sure.
Not from your relationship with that person, but their relationship with another person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've all had workout partners that have come and gone, and it may or may not have been because of a relationship. But
Sure.
what do you look for in that? What are you looking for? I mean, are we right back to where we started?
Yeah, well, in my experience, what typically happens is like a new guy that's starting to work out or join the fight team, for instance, right? So he's training, he's gung ho, he's wanting to better himself, get in shape for something, and it goes good for a little while, and then he gets his girlfriend, and next thing you know, he shows up less and less and less, and then he doesn't show up at all, and you're calling him like, hey,
Right.
what's up? And of course they'll never admit like, I got a girlfriend, and now it's, I'm unmotivated.
Right.
But typically that's kind of how it's happened in my past anyway, with workout partners, and then trying to talk them back into it can be a difficult thing.
Right.
Yeah. Especially if the relationship is going well.
Right. But funny enough, sometimes when it falls apart, there they are again.
Here they come. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's not a good cycle to be in.
No.
Yeah, that's kind of a pattern that you don't want to repeat, but it often happens. I like this question. It says, what do I do if my closest friends don't live a healthy life?
Yeah.
What do I do? I think you have to figure out, I'm going to answer this question and I asked
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Figure out that it's not about you, or it's not about them and you. You have to do you at some point.
Yeah.
Whether
yeah.
you're going to, they're going to be a part of that health journey. They can jump in anytime.
Right.
But
right.
you can't let what they're doing dictate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because that's not a good habit or pattern to be in any way.
If I think of like a social situation where I'm with that close group net of friends, and I'm trying to maybe refrain from eating certain foods that are within this group, or maybe not drink like they are or something like that. And if I feel like they're pressuring me, like, oh, you can do it. It's just one beer, or it's just one slice of pizza, or it's, you can handle it. If they're kind of like that, trying to pressure me into that, I'm not sure I would like that. So I'm not sure what we should do about that. But at some point, you have to think, are they bringing me down? If it's only health and fitness related, is it that important to you that you have groups of friends in your life that's going to be like that? Or if it's bringing you down in multiple ways, then you have to reevaluate those friendships.
Yeah.
To your point, for me, it's all about self-discipline and being your own person.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to give into peer pressure just because they want to make themselves feel better to
Right.
eat that second piece of pizza or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. They're trying to make themselves feel better
A lot of times.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've never been one to give into peer pressure per se, and a lot of times you end up leading by example. And not that I'm peer pressuring them into trying to be healthy, but I actually take that back. I do tend to do that, and I'll shame people until they do.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's all out of love, though. I
Yeah.
care about you. You don't. Why are you 5 beers in? We're just trying to have a good time here at the barbecue. Like,
Right.
anyway.
Right. Yeah. I want to back to the spouses talk, and I'm sorry for going back to there, but for those of you that are not in a good situation with your spouse, whereas your spouse is not supporting you in your goals, what's a good way that we can go about that and maybe trying to get our spouses to be healthier? Maybe you're concerned about their health. Or maybe, obviously we're not going to say, hey, you're gaining weight, you need to go work out. That's never gone well for a man. And
I was going to say, said no husband ever.
Said no good husband ever.
I'm going to disagree.
Oh, no.
I think that's the way to go, man. And I think sometimes people have to hear the hard part of the truth. And
Yeah.
it does hurt. And you can do it gently. I'm not saying you
Yeah.
call them fat and
Of course,
you're going
yeah.
to the gym. I'm making
Yeah.
you do it. But sometimes people, if you're too soft, they get complacent and they're just like, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay. But
Yeah.
But in all honesty, if you're in a relationship and you're working on yourself and you're happy with who you are, but meanwhile you're not happy in your relationship with who your wife is or your husband or whoever, that can lead to other conflicts. And in my opinion, if you don't address that, it's just going to bleed into other things.
Yeah.
So, and there is that thing where and not to be super shallow and it's all about physical attraction, because it's more than that. It's a lifestyle. It's a mentality. In my opinion, I'm attracted to disciplined people who are self-motivated.
Yeah. And growth-minded.
Correct.
Too.
Yeah. Setting goals and achieving those goals.
Yeah. No, I can see that. There's obviously just a tactful way that you go about it.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. But at the end of the day, you got to have the hard conversation.
Yeah. I was going to say, first thing I would probably say is you got to just open the line of communication and go, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
and there's a lot of different ways we can talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
We can do it constructively or destructively. Or you can, you can be punitive where you punish, or you can be restorative where you restore.
Right.
And I think that mindset, especially from the husband, if you're a husband out there, man, you may let your wife have the thermostat in the house, but you spiritually control it.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
and sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't, but over communicate and begin that, just start the conversation wherever it is.
Yeah.
And how it lands is up to you as a spouse.
To your point, I also think once you have that conversation, you got to offer solutions too.
Yeah.
It's not just attacking them and tell them they need to do better.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do better together.
And maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the wife, that needs to talk to the husband, because there's a lot of that.
Women are a lot better at that than men are. I mean, you know how many times a spouses have come to the wellness center and the wife will literally like pat the husband's belly and say, "This boy needs to lose weight. I need you to help him." Can you imagine if a man did that to a woman? Oh man, there would be. I would just go hide in a closet and let them figure it out on their own, because that would be as awkward as all get out.
Yeah. So I like that, Tyson. It's just you don't have to browbeat them, but you just encourage them, find a solution, find something that works for the two of you. Maybe it's maybe you need to both get educated first.
Yeah.
You educate yourself on the subject.
Sure.
And so it could be, we're not going to work out for 6 weeks until we read up on some of this stuff or talk to a trainer.
Hire a trainer.
And
I've done that before.
Together.
Yeah. I've done plenty of couples before, and it's a lot of fun. I think what I tell people, especially for some reason in our town, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but all the women will work out, but they have the hardest time getting their husbands there, especially the older generation. And what I tell them is I just say, just keep leading by example. Keep coming. Let him see the fruit of you living this healthy lifestyle. Let him see how much more energy you have. Let him see how much better you feel. And hopefully just continue to lead by example, and hopefully he'll follow at some point.
Well, there's also a benefit to suffering together.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's good, like, especially for me and my wife, when we have a day where we work out in the yard or something and we've put in the effort and both, sweated and worked and, we're tired, and we can get together later and be like, man, we did that together. Right. And it feels good.
Yeah.
And you kind of have this joint pain session where you're like, okay, now let's recover together.
Exactly.
And that's a cool thing. And so
this is something that CrossFit has done so well at, and that's why they're so big and they've exploded like they did, because group suffrage is something that I really think it's something what's the word, evolutionary almost, primal about the humans is, when you suffer together, it creates a bond that is hard to break.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why CrossFit's so successful. Same for jiu-jitsu or MMA.
Yeah,
you join these kickboxing gyms,
absolutely.
MMA
for sure.
gyms, like, oh yeah, the brotherhood that we form is unbreakable. Especially if you got people that are competing.
Yeah,
holy cow!
It's a family.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
very much family orientated.
Yeah, and so like Adam, you and I, we were individual worker outers.
Worker outers. Nicely done.
Lifters.
That's a terrible word. Anyways, but yeah, we work out on our own, but at the same time, we still get that sense of community by seeing, whether it's the front desk people at your gym, or I see when I work out in Wichita Falls at the Y, there's the same people there at 5 a.m. every single morning that I am. And, we've created a bond together. It's not like I know everything about their lives, but I know their names. We fist bump, and, it's just this, like, it's kind of like a brotherhood kind of thing.
Sure.
Makes it easy to find spotters too. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. As long as I know one guy in there, I know who can spot me.
I don't ever lift heavy enough to need a spot. Just for the record,
you can if you want to, but I understand where you are.
Well,
I'll be there.
It's good for my joints to not do all the super heavy stuff at this point in life.
Man, talking about lifting partner, Dustin is who is motivating me, because he is like pushing it and pushing it and pushing. I'm like, I can't let him catch me.
Right.
And so, he's my motivation right now. I'm not letting that dude catch me.
Yeah, he is.
But I'm proud of him, man. He's obviously got like just just a genetically strong base, because I mean he's picked up, I mean specifically deadlift really fast.
Was he 315?
I think he got 315.
Yeah, I thought so.
And so for someone who's only been deadlifting for like 2 or 3 months, that's really good.
Good for you, Dustin.
I know. And so yeah, I'm proud of that boy. We had to mention him since he's not here today.
That's right.
We miss him.
Yeah, the we're in this together mentality is really, really strong. And you know, it's that community, finding that community. It's really important. What do you do if this community that you're a part of, you know, starts to move in a direction that you don't agree with?
That's tough.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to go back to your core values.
Yeah.
You're going to end up back with what makes you tick.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to end up back to square one if that community begins to move in a place or at a pace that you don't like or can't handle.
Right.
You're going to go back to your core values, and sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing.
Right.
And I think y'all understand. But if you are in a behavior pattern or cycle where you recoil whenever the cracks start to show, or whenever whenever things start to fall apart a little bit, you just kind of recoil and go, man, I'm out.
Yeah.
Then you may miss out on some really cool things.
That's true. Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's something that's detrimental to your fitness or your faith or any of those areas in between, you may want to reevaluate. And that's why it's good to have a community. You know, it's good for, even though we have our spouses, it's good to have other people to bounce ideas off of. Yeah. Because one person doesn't make a whole quorum of people.
Right.
And so just because somebody says it's a bad idea, it may really not be.
Exactly. Yeah.
It may just be what you needed to hear, like Tyson said at some point.
Yeah.
They just didn't they didn't deliver it well.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting question. You know, what do you do if that happens? But that's what I'd say.
I'm with you. You kind of have to take it one thing at a time, or one situation at a time too, depending on what that thing is. Going back to communication, sometimes that's the answer, is just figuring out where's the direction and a whole going, and do I fit in there somewhere? Mm-hmm. And if you don't, it's okay to leave too. Yeah. You know, sometimes people feel like they have to stick things out until they're stressed out or whatever. Right. It's okay to go off and be a lone wolf for a little bit and recalibrate yourself. Yeah. And then join back or figure out, or you'll find a new group, or however it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do see something in our relationships that I've learned over the last several years. A lot of times friends or friendships or relationships, you know, outside of your marriage, they can actually be seasonal.
Yeah.
And that's the word I like to use, because they can come around and you know, be there and then not be there, and that is okay. And that's a hard thing for people to wrestle to the ground sometimes.
It's true, yeah.
Because you're like, oh, this is my friend. They have to be my friend forever.
Right. Forever.
Yeah. And I don't know where we got into that mindset. You can still be friendly to them forever, but they may not be in your circle of influence, or in that place where you have to glean information from them, or relational advice, or anything from them. Mm-hmm. But you still love them, you still care about them, you still wish the best for them. But man,
that's so good. Yeah.
You're just you forget that, you know, in this season of your life, there's somebody else that you needed to hear from.
Yeah, I mean, I think God orchestrated that and knew that you needed that type of person in your life, or something like that. I've had that happen so many times where, you know, like you said, it's a seasonal friendship, but I needed that friendship to get through certain things, or, you know, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, to a fault, you know, as we talk about friendships, I, to a fault, do not pursue friendships near enough.
Okay.
As an adult, making friends has been so freaking hard. You know, I have this mentality, especially since my daughter's 4, and ever since she was born, every waking moment that I'm not at work, or, you know, I want to spend time with her. And that's not a fault. I'm not saying that, but I've ignored and put off making friends and becoming closer friends, hanging out with friends, to a point where, I mean, I got lonely for a long time, because my life was my work associates and my wife and my kid, and that was it. And so, have y'all ever felt that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and it's difficult it's
got to be hard as a pastor.
My title is like a piece of baggage sometimes.
Right.
And not because it's a horrible title to have. I love being a pastor, and I think that's exactly what God's called me to do.
Of course.
But at the same time, whenever people come around that potentially could be, friends or, close friends, it's like, well, we can't be ourselves because he's the pastor.
The pastor.
You'll tell on us.
Yeah. Or we need to be better because we're in his presence. And there's nothing about my presence that is spectacular,
right.
In that regard. You don't have to be somebody different just because you're around me.
Yeah.
I would appreciate it more if you're not.
Right. Exactly.
And
I bet you love when someone is just so real with you.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And we talked about this when we, you and I fished, Tyson, we talked about this, but it's a weird deal. It's a weird dynamic to being a pastor. Yeah. And so, that loneliness can creep in. And so it's good to have relationships that
it's not something you can just turn off either.
No.
It's not a jacket you can take off. And
nope. No.
Not within like a 60-mile radius anyways.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right.
For me, I've tried to do good, and sometimes I fail. But with the introduction of phones, man, I've got a call list of people that I constantly go through, and at least once a month try to call. That's once good. A week. I've got quite a few of those people that are in that circle that it's easy to let them go, but I love them too much, and I care. I want to, because next thing you know, you'll have a friend or a cousin or whoever, and you're like, I haven't talked to that person in like 2 years. Right. What happened? Where are they at? So I've done pretty good at maintaining that, and it could be a 10-minute conversation. And like I said, I fail and I forget sometimes too. But you do have those people in that mid circle, I'll call them, where you just gotta keep them up, because otherwise they'll die.
That's true.
The friendship dies.
That's good. Well, I will work on that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You can pay me for that.
I know, man. Just day one, you're just coming out of the gates firing.
That's right.
Easy now.
All this good stuff.
So I wrote some potential downfalls too. This mentality of having workout partners, workout community, a family within that. And I think it's important that we do not rely on them for our source of motivation, because especially if it's your spouse and you rely on them for your motivation, if they fail, it's probably going to cause you to fail. Mm-hmm. And then, you might be playing the blame game. Like, I would have done it if you didn't stop, or, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And so I think it's important that you make sure that you rely on yourself for motivation, most importantly, discipline, obviously. So I just think it's important to note that. Make sure that if you're a part of that group, that if you're part of a lifting partner or something like that, that you're not. If they text you and say, "Hey, I'm not going to be at the gym this morning," that doesn't give you the go ahead to not.
You're not excused.
Yeah.
Anyways, I agree with that. And that's kind of, but what you said, texting that person though too. Like, there's been times where I've shown up to the gym, and one of my teammates haven't. Get a text message, you coming?
Yeah.
And then, or if it's too late, I text them afterwards. Where you at, man? We missed you up there.
That sucks.
Yeah. Well, but it keeps them motivated.
Yeah. Well,
I've been that guy too, where I get a text message and it's just like, man, I just didn't get there.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that inner voice that tells you not to go.
Right.
I would probably benefit from having somebody there to push me through that extra set that I don't want to do and often will not do.
Well, just know I'm at my desk watching you.
I know. Yeah. Maybe you should just start whipping me or something.
Okay.
With the
I got a stick back there. I hit my clients with.
There you go. Yeah. That would probably be helpful. I don't know. Have you ever been upset with somebody that didn't make it? If you were the one that showed up,
depends.
You got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you were there, and then it created some kind of weird tension.
For me, I'm in a different position because most of the time, if I'm getting ready for a fight, I need another body. Yeah. I can't hold mitts for myself. Right. I can't spar myself. So yeah, there's been some issues sometimes where it's like, I can't do this by myself. Fighting is an individual sport, but it's also a team sport at the same time, because to get ready for it. So yeah, There's been some words with people before not showing
Well, you need
up.
you don't just need a body, you need a skilled body at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like
And that's difficult to come by.
I could help you, but I'd be worthless.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Besides a body to punch.
And then I'm teaching the entire time how I need you to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably just fall on you and hurt you or something just because I don't know how to fall.
Right.
And then my cardio would be out of alignment because 3 minutes in and I'm toast.
Oh yeah,
Right.
for sure.
But,
Did you watch? I guess you didn't watch the fight Saturday night because you were doing your own fight. Huh?
I didn't watch them live, no, but I did
Yeah,
catch.
it was good, man.
I did catch
I was
the
watching
highlights.
it.
Man,
Yeah.
that head kick knockout.
Dude, that was crazy.
Fifth round.
That
After he had been
like the
dominating
buzzer
the fight.
beater, man.
Yeah,
That was
man.
sick.
Shout out to Leon Edwards.
There you
Yeah,
go.
man. He's listening.
Just
Yeah,
takes.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
What's up, Leon? Come train with me.
Just takes one shot.
Come get on our podcast.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about what Scripture has to say about friends and
Yeah.
relationships and all the things that it talks about. And there's a lot of different levels to it, and I don't think we have time to go into all of them. But I want to just touch on a few as we finish up today. Jesus actually gave us a really good definition of a friend.
Okay.
It was in John 15. He says, "Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends."
Yeah.
He goes on to say, "You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything I learned from my Father, I've made known to you." He basically set the bar really high for us.
Yeah.
He said, "This is what I'm willing to do for you. I'm willing to go to the cross. I'm willing to die,
Yeah.
because I call you my friends."
Yeah.
Because I call. And then he says, if you're willing to do that, then you can call yourself a friend.
Yeah.
And then, so that's an interesting dynamic to how Jesus viewed it.
Mhm.
And then in Proverbs, there's a lot of different things about friends. A friend loves at all times. A brother is born for adversity. Proverbs 17. That's one of those things that just kind of goes without saying, but yet it needs to be said.
Right.
Sometimes we forget, hey, this is my friend.
Yeah.
And more than that, this is my friend in the kingdom, in the body of Christ. And
Right.
the way I'm treating that person is really not friendly. And it gives people a bad taste in their mouth for church and for what the
absolutely.
body of Christ is.
Yeah.
And so it's another layer of that I wanted to just bring up, because even on our best day, we still have the capacity to do some really stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And it comes out on other people, and a lot of times it comes out on people that we're close to.
Yeah.
In that circle, there are five, or I keep thinking about T-Mobile or whoever the phone company was that did their. Let me give you, your
top five or
your
whatever.
top five,
or MySpace top 8.
I keep thinking about that. And I can't get it out of my brain because it's really true. That was pretty good marketing, because you're going to have those people.
Mhm.
But when it comes down to it, the way we treat those people matters.
Yeah.
And it matters to our net worth, our net value that we have with our friends and our relationships. And so, I don't know. I thought I'd bring that up, see what you guys have to say.
Yeah. No, honestly, when I think about that, like, Tyson, when I see, how long have we been working together? 3 years, 4 years?
3 or 4, yeah.
When did you start?
I'm trying to think. Now you put me on the
Yeah,
spot.
no, I can't remember. But like, just observing you and even, the way I feel about you and you feel about me is like, you are a freaking loyal guy. And your friendships and the people in your life, you will literally murder for.
Yeah,
And I
appreciate that.
see that, and I know that, and maybe I shouldn't relate that to the Bible, but I'm just trying to talk about how loyal I know you are, and how well you treat the people that you love.
I appreciate that.
And so I just wanted to encourage
It
you
goes
with that.
both ways too. I mean, if I'll die for you, I'll kill for you too. But
You have the physical capabilities to kill.
But finding those people too is hard, because someone can fake that.
It's true.
Someone can say they're that, and then you find out they're not. And I think you find out who your friends are, throughout life.
Yeah.
And I try not to put people onto pedestals, and I try not to put them into that little circle of people that are in that.
Yeah.
I'm real picky with it anyway.
Yeah.
But once you're there, you're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that.
Yep, it's a good deal. And I can see that in you, and I do. I can see the loyalty, and so that's a cool deal to watch as an outside observer.
Yeah.
So it's a neat deal, and we hope that you guys, as you're listening to this podcast, that you have considered some of the relationships that you have. Maybe it's some that you are fully invested in, some that you're just kind of out on the edge looking in and going, hey, we need to make this a little bit more.
Right.
Because here at the end of the day, I try to remember that everyone, no matter where they are, who they are, what they're capable of, or what they're doing, everyone has value.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out how to tap into that is the hardest thing sometimes for us, because we're like, man, do I have it in me to do this one more time?
Right.
To put myself out there one more time. And my answer is, yeah, you do. And so I hope that you have the strength to do that, and that it increases your net worth. So
it's good.
That circle is your net worth.
That circle, net worth. That's it.
I love it.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you guys for welcoming in Tyson Burwell. He is going to be a more frequent visitor. Well, no, he's going to be just a host. He's not even a visitor anymore. Welcome to the family.
Hey, appreciate it.
So
you made it into the circle.
I know.
There you go.
Look out.
As y'all can see, we're in a new studio, super fancy whiteboard behind me. And so we're changing some things up, and hopefully to just bring more variety, more value in any way possible. D-Money will be in some episodes. Adam will be in some episodes. Tyson will be in some episodes. It's just it's gonna be fun.
Y'all stuck
really
with Joe
excited.
though.
Joe will always be in the episode, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain that, but it's kind of weird.
Well, it's kind of like staple foods on the back of the ingredient box.
Right.
It's always going to have this in it.
Always gonna.
You're the protein. You got to be there.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I love it. Okay, cool.
Cool. Well, everybody check out all of the things that are happening on social media.
Yes.
Check out all of the cool reels that Joe makes, because he's doing a good job with that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
And so it's fun to watch you grow in that way and learn, do some things.
Every time I say this sentence, I feel like a loser and a millennial and whatever, but make sure that you're liking my podcast, my reels. Like, the more engagement I get on those, the more people I can reach.
Yeah.
Follow it, share it to your story, whatever you need to do. Just continue to help us grow. And even on Facebook, continue to engage with us there also. And I think that's about it. I think that's all I have.
Works for me. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you guys inviting me out, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. All right, everybody have a wonderful rest of the day, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Progressive Overload podcast. We're honored to be a small part of your day. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or are interested in sponsoring our efforts, please feel free to reach out via email. Find us at progressiveoverloadpod@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe and follow our podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.
And as always, you can help us reach the masses by sharing our podcast with your friends and family. And then check us out on Facebook and Instagram to follow our own personal journeys and get an inside look on our day-to-day lives.